But today we're going to talk about crowdfunding and basically raising money online. Crowdfunding is a relatively new, within the past 5 years, platform that has really taken off in leaps and bounds. And we're going to go ahead and just start right into it. Crowdfunding is basically, you know what, we might have to move off the bottom right because it's covering up stuff. Crowdfunding is basically a way to do peer-to-peer fundraising. And peer-to-peer is basically like any swim-a-thon, walk-a-thon, even Girl Scout cookies is peer-to-peer, where you are going directly to other people and asking for money. So crowdfunding made that happen digitally using email, social media, and other direct ways of contacting. And the idea is, especially with social media, as you can see in this graph, as soon as you start going to one group of people, they can pass it on to other people through email or through social media, and which gets passed on to others. And then who knows what picks it up? Because if you do a tweet out there through your Twitter account, you can have your crowdfunding venture get picked up by news agencies, other organizations. The one we recently did for Noble Paws got picked up by disability.gov. And so they ended up featuring us on their website just through our crowdfunding campaign. So it's just a matter of somebody somewhere sent a tweet about it and it went across somebody's desktop. And so that's basically how it works. And it can spread pretty quickly. Now, you can use crowdfunding for most anything you want. And you'll see literally people when you go to some of the crowdfunding sites, and there's hundreds, over 500 different crowdfunding platforms, that people certainly do use it for many different things. You'll see people out there raising money for surgery for their dog, their house got ruined in a storm, things like that. Anything you want, pretty much you can use to do it with. The most popular reasons for using crowdfunding are social causes, which is basically what most of us are doing as nonprofits. But you can also see business entrepreneurship is in there, and you'll see a lot of people with their business ideas presenting their ideas, looking for funders through crowdfunding. Technology is a very big one these days. But you can certainly use it for most anything you want. There's certain platforms, and we'll get into that in a couple slides, that will limit you what you can do. Now, like I said, crowdfunding has been around for about 5 years, and you can see through this how much it has grown. The platforms estimated in 2010 were just over 280. And in 2012, just a couple years ago, is at 530. There's over 600 different platforms. Platforms meaning people have heard of Kickstarter or Fundraiser or GoFundMe. Those are the platforms. There's over 600 to pick from nowadays. These are the stats we have right now. You can also see that the amount of money that's been generated through or raised through crowdfunding is into the billions, 5 billion worldwide. Most of that gets generated in the U.S. or North America, and then about 60%, and another 30% is mostly in Europe. So the Western countries seem to have picked up on crowdfunding as a major way to raise money for their organizations. Really? All right. So we're going to go through it. When you sign up for a crowdfunding platform, and I'll show you some of the platforms in a second here, every platform has pretty much the same campaign page, and that's where you're basing your fundraising efforts out of. You'll have a campaign page that will have all your content on there. This is actually Kickstarter. This is their page. But you'll see that if you go to Fundraiser or GoFundMe, they're all very much the same in how they structure and it's research. I mean, they didn't just make this up. They've researched how to structure their sites. And the very top thing at every page, and they're going to tell you this, is get a video. More than a picture, a video produces twice as amount of money you can get if you have a video introducing your organization, what you do, to anyone who may want to watch it. And you can see on this video, the Bet on Hamlet organization, their video is actually on Vimeo, which is a social media platform like YouTube. Things with videos that you want to make sure that you have on your video is that it's emotionally compelling. The way to draw people into your campaign is to stir emotion. We're not going to talk a lot about storytelling today because we're talking more about the strategic plan for your crowdfunding campaign, but the storytelling aspect happens here in your campaign page. So your video, emotionally compelling, make sure it tells your story, what you're doing, why you're doing it, but try to keep it 3 minutes or less. I've seen a few of them that are 10-minute slideshows with music. People don't watch that, and it shows in the campaigns that they really don't get a lot of people supporting them financially. Now you're going to see on the other side of this screen, sorry to the people who are watching remotely, in this part, that's kind of your campaign headquarters is in this area. And for those who are watching, the campaign headquarters is where the donate or contribute button is. That's your relevant information. How much money you're trying to raise, how far along you're into it, and how much time you have left. And pretty much every crowdfunding platform I've seen is nearly identical looking as that. And there's a button right there, contribute now or donate now right there. Now, once you've raised a certain amount of money, these stats I'm going to throw in every so often, but once you've raised, and this stat in particular, we'll revisit a couple times, but you're trying to get your money quickly within the first few weeks, because the more money, the closer you get to that 40% mark, then you're showing that you're successful, you've generated enough funds, and then if someone else comes to that site, they're more likely to contribute. In this case, once you reach that mark, they're 22% more likely. Other parts of your campaign page on the left-hand side, you see the sharing tools. Now, that little bar below the video, you'll see different ways for people to share it through Facebook, through Twitter, through Google+. They can email it, they can send a link, they can tweet about it, right? This is social media. This is how this campaign page is spreading awareness to other people. So if I were to visit something I liked and I had a friend who supported causes like this, I might tweet it to them, or I might tweet it to my Twitter account, or I might share it on my Facebook page. What you really want people to do is email it. Emailing produces over 50% of your conversion. Conversion rate meaning if someone's going to donate to your campaign, you've converted them. You've put your pitch out. It's a little bit like marketing. You've made your sales. This is your sales page. This is your pitch. You've converted them once they contribute. Email brings in the most contributions. So if you want someone to come to this page, emailing is the best way to get them there. Though Facebook works 10-15% of the time, Twitter doesn't work as well, at least for converting. It doesn't mean they don't go to your page, but if you want to convert them as a donor. Now, other parts of this campaign page is you're going to have to tell your story. You're going to have to tell them what you're doing, why you're doing it, how much you need to raise, how it's going to help your mission, what your timeline is. Let them know if you've already raised money through other means. Include lots of pictures. Include lots of pictures of people works best. People want to see people. That's what draws the eye. And they want to see a picture of your project. Get as detailed as possible in your story. If you're just to say we need a new truck because we need to make more deliveries of food, that's not a great pitch. But if you say, by having a new truck, we're going to be able to increase the amount of people we feed by 40%, which means over 300 different families will have a nutritional meal at least once a day. And of those 300 families, there's 150 children. You've made a better pitch. So get detailed when you do this. The trick here, and you see on the left-hand side, 300 to 500 words. Our attention spans aren't that long. That's why video works really well. So keeping it short is great. It's easy to write a 2,000-word pitch. Just rattle off your story. But to get that streamlined down to 300 to 500 words makes it a lot easier and more digestible for people, and you throw in the pictures to help tell the story, and then you've made your campaign pitch, which it is. It's a pitch. You're marketing. You're selling this to people. Regular updates throughout your campaign are going to make you more successful, 126% more than the others without updates. Every social media platform is going to have excuse me, a way to give updates. Those updates basically are in your campaign page. You can go to an update. It's basically a blog. You can go to your update section. You can say, hey, today we reached our milestone of $2,000 of the $8,000 we're trying to raise. This is a very exciting time. We now can afford, the computer that's going to go with the video player. So those milestones, those updates, really keep people engaged, because a lot of times when someone goes to your page, they're going to look for those updates. Updates keep people on the page longer, and the longer they stay on the page, the more likely they are to contribute. So the longer they stay on the page, the more likely you are to convert them. On the other side, you see that on the right-hand side on this is, again, this is Kickstarter campaign. They have their perks is what they call them, but it's a reward-based fundraising system. So basically, a lot of radio stations do this when they do their pledge drives. They'll have a, if you pledge $500, you'll get a poster, a T-shirt, and a CD. If you pledge $100, you get the poster. If you pledge $250, and those are the perks. Perk-based or reward-based fundraising is the most popular and most widely used way of fundraising in all of crowdfunding. And I'll show you a graph of that details the other ones later on. But it grew fivefold in the past 2 to 3 years. It's becoming that popular. And it converts best, so it works. Giving perks works. So that was the campaign page. And like I said, they're very much structured the same. You're going to have your video, you're going to have your perks area, you're going to have to tell your story. You're going to have to give updates. Some of them have other features on them. They're going to have ways to, they'll have maps, a Google map, and everyone who donates will get a little Google map pin. You can see people across the country who donate. And it makes it just more interesting. We're going to talk a little more about these platforms. Because the first thing you want to do is when you prepare to launch your campaign, you're going to figure out what platform you're using. Let me go back real quick. Forgot one thing. 2 months in advance. If you are doing a large campaign, a large capital project, say $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, or even $10,000, the more in advance you prepare for this, the better prepared you'll be for launch day, and you'll see later how important launch day is. But it's been done in 2 weeks, and it can be done in 2 weeks, but your results can be different. Like I said earlier, there's 500, 600 different platforms out there. These are some of the main ones that are out there: Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Fundraiser, GoFundMe, Fundly. Fundly is the one I'm most familiar with. That's the one I've used the most. And then CrowdRise. Not all platforms are the same. They may have the same structure. They may have a video, and they may have a perk area, rewards base. They'll have their donation bar and all that. But they charge different fees. Up on the top, it's usually 7 to 15%. That doesn't all go to them because there's a credit card fee. They are processing your credit cards for you. Some of them may deposit right into their PayPal account, right into your PayPal account. Others may cut you a check. Others may have you use a different system. There's other carts out there for them to use. And credit cards usually take 3, 4, up to 5%, and then the rest will go to the platform. So keep that in mind, and you should read that when you pick a platform. How much are they going to be taking of what you make? Social media, if we go to the right side, different platforms connect with different social media. They don't all connect to everything. Fundly uses Facebook, Twitter, and they have an email platform. They have a great email platform. Others use different ones, LinkedIn and Twitter. But basically what it means is when you sign up for your account with, say, Kickstarter or Fundly, you're going to log in and you're going to connect it to your Facebook page or your Twitter account. And so that anytime you update, it automatically gets posted to your social media. Anytime someone donates to your campaign, it automatically updates to your social media. So there's this ongoing stream of updates and notifications, whatever you want, going directly to your social media, helping your social media get populated with very current and active stuff. So, but they don't always connect to everything. Some of them only do Facebook. Some of them don't do any, so then you have to go in and you have to do that manually. As far as multimedia goes, they're all pretty much the same now. They've all caught up. They've realized there are still a few who don't do video on their main campaign page. But right now, the main ones all have video. They all have a way to put audio on there, photos on there. The blue-white outline thing, that is a mobile device, which is pretty important right now. You got to realize about 40% of donations come through mobile devices. So you need a platform that is called responsive, that works in your mobile device. The best way to describe that, if you've ever been to a web page on your iPhone and you see the entire page and you have to kind of scroll it open to see what's going on, and other times the web page fits neatly in columns on there, that's responsive. If it's the whole page, then it's not responsive. It's not mobile ready. And that's going to be important because there is a lot of mobile campaigning going on. And then the other one is the type of funding. How are they going to pay you? Are they going to pay you? Kickstarter, for one, Kickstarter will only give you your money if you reach your goal. If you do not reach your goal, you do not get your money. And there's quite a few of them out there that do that. Why you'd want to do that? I don't know. People do it though. Kickstarter is one of the most popular ones. Funnily, the one I'm familiar with, if you want to raise $20,000 but you only raise $7,000, you get the $7,000. All right. Also keep in mind that not all platforms will fund all projects. I've said Kickstarter several times already, but Kickstarter typically does not fund nonprofits unless you are arts related. They'll fund, they started out as a movie platform for filmmakers, and then they extended out to artists and creatives. So if you're an arts council or you're trying to put a mural on a wall, you may qualify for Kickstarter. Kickstarter also makes you apply. Others will let you do anything. My dog needs a surgery. I got a bunch of friends. I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. They can all come to your campaign page, and you can pay for your dog's surgery. So check it in there. They should advertise within the first 2 or 3 pages when you go to a applications page what they do and do not support or fund. All right. So preparing to fundraise. 2 months advanced, you've picked your platform. Now you should already have an idea of what you're going to do with the money and why you need it. And the more detailed this is, because you got to remember, when you're doing your pitch and you're telling people what you need and why you need it, the more detailed, the better. So if you have a board or a campaign team together, get together a few months ahead of time and say, what's exactly what we need and why exactly do we need it? People will donate the things that they know about. So if it's too vague and they don't know what you're going to do with the money, especially if they're somewhat removed from your organization, they like your cause, but you're still kind of new to them, they may not donate. But the more detailed you get, if you're trying to build something, you have the blueprints, or you have your matching funds are in there, and you've already got grants, and here's a picture of the land, and we've already cleared it. Your story is starting to be a little more compelling because it's more of a reality to them, and they're more likely to donate. Set your goals. This means how much do you need and how long are you going to do it for. You can have a campaign go for 2 weeks, 2 months. I've had board members tell me, why should we close it at all? We need to raise the money, and I'll tell you why in a second. And how much do you need? And be really honest and clear with how much you need. And the better, like I said earlier, the better you can explain what you need and why you need it, what you're going to spend it on, the better chance you're going to have of converting someone into a donor. Average success rate for campaigns is down there. 9 weeks, $7,000. There's that 10-week seems to be about the campaign kind of lifespan. That's a very healthy lifespan. 40 days to 10 weeks, somewhere in there. Gives you enough time to get your momentum, get it out, get all the content you want to get out, and then close it. So, what are your goals? I'm going to harp on this a little more. If you set your goal like, well, we need 30, but let's go for 50, right? Why not? Let's get everyone on there. You may not succeed. And if you don't succeed, there's two reasons for this, but let's just go with one. If you succeed, the chances are you're going to get more than you asked for. 78% of people who reach their goal get more than they asked for. These are just some examples that I found just a couple days ago online of people who have succeeded, and some of them made quite a bit more than what they asked for. But typically you'll make 1,000 or 2 more, 5, 10, 15% more than you asked for if you succeed in your goal. So that's one reason to make your goal realistic. Make it more obtainable. The other reason is there's two big humps when you start your campaign. That first week or two, money comes in. That last week or two, and you'll see a graph of this later, the money comes in, and in between it kind of slows down. You're kind of maintaining this. During those last 2 weeks, I come to your web page, your campaign page, and I see 2 organizations. That little red bar means how much I've raised. Which one are you more likely to donate to? The one who's at least studies show, the one that's most likely going to be closest to succeeding. That's the one, hey, 2 weeks away, they're close, I'm going to donate to them. Realistic number, $10,000. They've raised the same amount, bottom line, but they've set their amount that they need to raise much higher. 2 weeks left, God, they're not even there. Well, I feel bad for them, but I'm going to go find one that's a lot closer and help them get that goal, right? You want to be part of something that's successful. The one that's going to be successful most likely is the top bar. So next thing you want to do is you start planning your campaign is who's on your team. If you try to do this solo, depending on what you're doing, if you're raising money for your dog's broken leg, you could probably do that solo. But if you're trying to get a project out there, you need a team together. If you're trying to raise $20,000, if you need a building, a truck, a whole new computer system, networking, whatever it is, that team is going to, one, take the burden off of your executive director or whoever your head fundraiser is, but it's also going to help get the word out. So your team may consist of a content creator, a social media director, a phone call person, a volunteer coordinator, whatever, right? Someone who can do something. By having a team, you're almost 40% more likely to reach your goal. Well, 40% more likely, you will raise 40% more. Sorry, I read that stat wrong. You will raise 40% more. One of the last things you need to figure out before this, we haven't even launched our campaign, is what's your budget. You've all heard the saying, you need to spend money to make money. It's pretty true for the most part. You're going to be generating a media campaign. So you might be sending out letters to people. You're going to have to probably pay somebody to do your video. You're going to be you're going to be spending money just by having the platform. Right? So you're not getting that money. You may raise that $10,000, but 7% of it just went to the platform. Are you going to be using office supplies? You have to figure out what your budget is so that whoever's running this campaign knows, okay, I got $1,000 and I want to get brochures out to all our members. So we can't make them color now. That's great. Now I know. So plan your budget. Just a quick review. As you prepare to launch 2 months in advance, find out what platform you're going to use. Identify what you need and why you need it, what your goals are, how much you need, and how long you're going to take to get it, who's on your team, and what your budget is. That's the start of your strategic plan. You've got some pieces into place, you know your goals, you know the people you're working with, you know your timeline. And so now within about a month, again, this can all be done in 2 weeks if you really want to. It's stressful. But about a month ahead of time, you can really start making your plan and putting all these pieces you just created can now go into place. So that content is what's going to drive that conversion. That's your pitch. We've talked about making your story 300 to 500 words. We've talked about the elements that go into that. Go ahead and write your donation letter now. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, member, whoever. Hey, we're very excited that we're working towards the goal of getting a new truck for food delivery, and it's going to allow us to make 300 more deliveries each week, and we really appreciate your support in the past. Your donation letter, write it. Your thank you letter, pre-write it. Most of these platforms will have a automatically generated thank you. So pre-write that, stick it in the platform, and so when someone donates to your campaign, boom, they've already got a thank you. That's not the only way you should thank them, and we'll go into that later. But get that thank you letter written so you're not sitting there on launch day going, oh, I got to thank this person, I got to thank this person. Get that done. Get that donation letter ready so on launch day you just press go. Photos, start collecting them and realize if you have enough or if you need more, or have someone go out and get more, maybe hire a professional. Those photos are telling your story. And as you're creating this, you're going to see gaps, right? You're going to see gaps in your whole pitch. Like, okay, we said we need a truck, but you know what? We don't even have a picture of the truck. So someone goes out and gets a picture. Milestones we'll go over in a minute, but you want to make sure you know what your milestones are because you're going to develop content specifically around them. And of course, your video. So there's milestones. Throughout your 10 weeks of your campaign, you're going to have to determine, you and your team, what your milestones are. And those milestones could be anything. It could be, hey, we're 2 weeks into it. That's a milestone. Or it could be, we've got 300 likes on our Facebook page. That's a milestone. We've raised $10,000. You want to keep your supporters in the loop. Milestones help, one, because it shows how you're progressing. People who support you don't want to support someone who doesn't succeed, so by giving them these milestones, they get, hey, this is exciting, right? They're doing it. I'm supporting these people, and they're being successful. Milestones also help you create content. So if you have 10 milestones, well, there's 10 days worth of content right there. So when you have that 300th like, you go in your milestone folder and post it to Facebook. It's already made. You're waiting for it to happen. You don't have to create it that day like, oh, we hit 300. Hold on, I got to do the milestone. It's ready. Put it in there. The $10,000 mark. Put it on there. So this is plug and play. You've launched the campaign. You're going to have enough going on maintaining the campaign where you don't want to be creating content while it's going on. So determine those milestones and get the content created. If you're going to do perks, here's that graph I told you is going to come up. If you're going to do perks, what are they? Where are you going to get them? Are they going to be hats? How long do they take to make? Who are you going to use to print? How much is it going to cost? All this stuff, have it ahead of time and figure it into your expenses. Because, okay, great, we're going to have hats, we're going to have t-shirts and posters. Make sure you know that you're going to, remember that's maybe 7% of every donation, thereabout, depending on how you do your math. $100 donation, a hat costs $10, that's 10% of the cost. So figure out your math, make sure you know where you're getting it from. But you can see right here the reward, the perks base, left side of the graph, that's the 500% growth, 5-time growth in the past 3 to 5 years. I forget what that graph, I think it's 3 years. And the industry share, that's of 100%, that's the red one. So it's 43% of what people use crowdfunding for is reward-based fundraising. Donation-based is just, hey, I got a great cause, give us some money. We don't have any rewards, but support us. Equity-based is when you invest into a business. It's actually really popular. If you go to an equity-based crowdfunding site, they're raising $5 million. I guess business people have that. We're nonprofits. We're lucky to raise $100,000, I guess. And then lending-based, I didn't see many of these out there. It's not that popular. You can see it's not used much just by the red line, but it's actually loaning money. And then you've guaranteed you're going to give a 10% return. Anyways, develop your perks and have your perks ready ahead of time. A lot of people roll their perks out. They may roll out a new perk after a week, like, hey, we're doing so good, we're going to give you a new perk. $150 gets you this. You know, halfway mark, new perk, up your donation from $100 to $150, and we'll throw in a. So you can add these perks as you go along. They don't all have to be there the day you start, but definitely have some of them there. Press releases. So a lot of people don't cover press releases. I've had a lot of success with them personally, and they can really do wonders if you're trying to get statewide recognition, or generally, you have to realize when you're crowdfunding, you're not just raising money, you're raising awareness. And if you can tell your story, which is the whole point, right? If you're storytelling, everybody's heard that. It's the big buzzword, but it's true. Storytelling is how you raise money. You don't say, give them my cause because we want to buy a new truck. You tell them the story. If you can get the press to tell your story, then you've just reached a larger audience and you've gotten yourself credibility because you've been covered by a press agency. You can write your press releases ahead of time. Typically, you're going to have one when you launch. Hey, we just started this. We are going to expand our services. We're excited to be serving more people, and we really need to reach our goal. You make your press release. We won't go into how to write one, but there's certainly good and bad ways to do it. And then when you reach a milestone, send another press release to the same people. Chances are when you launch and you send that press release out, the people who read it are going to take it and, whatever. You're too new. You haven't raised any money. There's not a story here yet. But as you reach milestones and let them know that you now have the ability to do X, Y, or Z, or you've raised, maybe your press release is, wow, we raised $25,000 and our goal was 10 and we're not even done yet. That's going to raise some eyebrows, right? Oh, who is this? What are they doing? This is worth reporting on. The ones that get reported on are the ones that are the closest to or over their goal. So then you may want to know, well, why not just send a press release when you're closer to your goal. Because you want the person who's reading the press release to be familiar with you. Oh, wait, it's those people again. Oh, wait, they didn't just start. Look, they're getting closer. You want them to follow your story to the point where they're like generating interest. If you write a good enough press release and tell your story in the press release, don't leave it to them. A lot of people in press releases will cut and paste the press release and post it. So if you tell your story in the press release, chances are you're going to get more interest and possibly get covered. Noble Paws, we sent out a press release 2 or 3 times. We actually got covered in the Fairbanks News Miner, and then the Anchorage Daily News picked it up, and then it got picked up by the AP, and it got distributed nationwide. So we lucked out, but we sent a lot of press releases every time we reached the goal.
Who all did you send them to? Just everything?
I sent it statewide. And then there was a story written about it that was on the front page of the lifestyle section, or maybe it was the neighbors section in Fairbanks, and it got picked up by Anchorage, and then the radio picked it up too. And so that just, once you get in that stream, you don't know who's listening and who's going to pick up on it. So, but that was probably my 3rd press release that I sent over 2 months that we finally got picked up. So 1 month before, you got all your content created, you got your press releases created, you've got your videos, all that's ready. Now make a schedule. And this is literally a day-to-day. Remember, if you do a day-to-day plan, you're going to get people more interested, you're going to raise more money. And that can be simply as today we put the Facebook post, tomorrow we do the announcement of the PERC Award. We're going to thank 3 people randomly on day 5, whatever, right? But make a plan, this is a marketing plan, and follow it. And that's what's going to generate, that's going to help you raise nearly twice as much money. So going into your launch 1 month ahead of time, you want to make your plan by preparing all the content that you can. And this can be tweaked later. Once it's up, you can go back. It's easy to go into your platform and update stuff or change it or correct misspellings, or if you run out of time and you have to put up 500 words and you wanted to fix it and make it 400 words, you can do that and then fix it later, a couple weeks later. Make sure you have your milestones ready. You know what they are, your perks and rewards, where you're going to get them, how much they're going to be, and that you have the photos and all that kind of stuff that people are going to want to see, and your press releases, and then make a schedule. So now you count down, you're on your launch day. So you've got your platform, your content's there, you've plugged it all in, and you've set up your timeline. Some of them will actually say launch day, and you can actually type the date and the time you just want it to go live. Others you actually have to go in and say, you'll have to go in and you'll have to actually activate your campaign. And others will actually activate it right away and you won't even know it, and you're sending out Facebook posts and you didn't even know it. That happened to me. And they activated the minute I signed up and I didn't know it. I didn't like that. So yeah, make sure you're live when you want to be live. So here's that graph I told you was coming. When you start your campaign, that first 2 to 3 weeks is when you raise 30%, 35% of your money, and the last 2 to 3 weeks is when you raise the other 30 to 35%. That middle part, it's a reverse bell curve, is when it kind of slugs along.
Are those numbers on the left the percentages?
That's the percent of the campaign, yes. The left side is the percent of the campaign. So within 2 to 3 weeks, you've got 30-some odd percent. And that's human nature. Something starts, you're excited, you've called everybody, and you've got a lot of energy, and everybody starts right away, and then it kind of slugs along for a while. And then as you come closer to the end, you have a whole nother marketing campaign. It's that scarcity effect. Time is running out, right? That's a very popular marketing technique, but it works. When you launch your campaign, you want to make sure that you're going to reach the most successful, how do I want to put that? Your successful conversion. Who are you going to email, call, write letters to, send postcards to that are going to be most likely to donate? most likely your friends, your family, your board members, the members of your organization, your inner, what a lot of people call your inner circle. So when you launch your campaign, don't just randomly pick 1,000 people of anyone. Pick the one that's going to convert. The ones that are going to help you reach that 30% mark, because after you've reached 30%, once your bar for fundraising is at 30%, when people visit, remember, they're more likely to donate. Your friends, family, coworkers, members of your organization will probably donate anyways because they trust you, they know you. So have them help you get to that 30%, because once you start stepping outside of your inner circle, it's a harder conversion. It's harder to get them to donate. Set yourself up for success by making sure you're at that 30% mark. So you basically will be doing, at least I recommend and the research recommends, doing a tiered release. Find your inner circle, release to them first, try to get to 30% and work it. Once you're there, then step out to the next kind of level, maybe acquaintances or other organizations in the area that have the same cause or that you work with. And then step out even further than that to maybe industry statewide, and just keep making that ring wider until eventually you might have 80% of your funds and someone in another state might support you because you're almost there and they like what you're doing for people with autism. So starting with that 30%, you're really working your inner circle. And you want to get that, let's see, one of the suggestions I heard was you want to get 25% of your funding on the first day. That's a lot of work. It can be done, because if you have all this prepared and you send a huge email list out and you make phone calls, all that kind of stuff, and we'll talk a little more about that in a second, you can get there. The reason you want to make as much money as possible your first day, or possibly two, is that the platform that's hosting you is going to recognize that. They're watching. They see it. They got all these stats coming into them. If you want to make it as the featured fundraiser on their blog or on their main page, raise a lot of money right away. And they'll be like, whoa, who's this? And you'll get featured there. Hey, this is a new campaign. Because you're being successful. That's exciting. And it helps them by having that successful, exciting campaign on their front page or featured in their blog. So a lot of people will focus on that immediate. Got to get a lot of money right away, because that's going to generate more interest just by the people who are letting us use their platform. On your launch day, you want to set a wide net. So if you have a mailing list, mail letters. If you have a phone list, call people, email people. And again, remember, tier it. Try to tier it first with your inner circle. Put the announcements on your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, or whatever else you have, your blog, your own website. And something that I have read works, I've never done it, is to throw a party, and that just depends on if you guys are local. If all your people are local in your organization and you have a team already of people who are not only just working with you, but possibly ambassadors who are willing to help spread the word, have a party, get excited. This is our launch day. This is a big deal. We're starting a huge capital campaign. We're trying to raise $30,000. Let's go have pizza. Let's go talk about this. Let's make sure we take photos of our launch day event. Let's make sure that everyone goes home and emails their friends about this and sends them to the campaign page. And have it, just get the people excited so that they go home and that excitement gets dispersed in their emails, their Twitters, their Facebook pages. So your launch day, just remember, you start with a big bang and you're going to end with a big bang. So the bigger bang you start, the better chance you have of success. So try to get that up. Try to get that first couple of days a lot of energy. Again, start with your inner circle, the people you know most, the people who are going to support you. And try to do a lot in one day. You're going to do it, all your social media, all your emails, all your phone calls, posters. You have a launch. It's a big deal. Get all your team out there, making everyone know that, hey, this is happening. Your video's ready. You're online. And you'll see it in the stats. They all have stats in the back. So when you go into your platform, you go even on your Twitter account, your Facebook account, you'll see how many likes you got that day, who liked you, when they liked you. You can see all that. So it's fun to kind of watch what content you put on there and what efforts you make to try to bring people in, you can see it reflected in the stats. So now you've launched. The hardest part is over. The maintenance is pretty easy. If you've done your work, your content's there, you have a plan, all the content's created, all you got to do is follow your day-to-day plan of what to post when, though you will have to tweak it, and there may be other milestones that happen. You may need to change stuff or something, or you may get maybe a celebrity donates, and you're like, woohoo, this is a whole other piece of content we have to create now because the governor just donated to our cause. So part of the maintenance part is being everywhere. The whole point is to bring them back to that campaign page. And if you remember the very first graphic where it was one person at a computer that went to 5 people, went to 20 people, when it's all being generated around it, different ways. And that's the exciting part, I guess, of all the technology we have, that we can reach people in a variety of ways. We have a question in the back, Renee.
So you use the governor as an example, and you're not planning on reaching him just by someone out there might know him that you're connected to with 7 degrees. You actually go and you get his email or his.
You don't exactly know how, but I can tell you, Noble Paws, I hate to use myself as an example, Senator Begich found the newspaper article I told you about and took it out of Senator, and it's all Alaska, so everyone knows who that is. He took it out of the Fairbanks News Miner, signed it, and said, what a great idea, and then sent it to me. And so I don't know how he got it. He sent it from Washington. So, but that's part of making this. If you're everywhere, who knows whose Twitter account it comes across? Who knows who they forwarded to? Once it's out there, it's out there. And so if you can be everywhere in every single way possible, then you have a better chance of getting that Begich or governor or whoever to come on board, or another organization. If you got featured in Autism Today or something like that because you service autistic children, and they put you on their Facebook page, and all of a sudden you got 200 likes on your Facebook page, and you trace it back to them because somebody shared a tweet. So I told you I'm going to say a little more about thank yous. Throughout your entire campaign, thank people, and thank them. Thank them personally. A lot of your crowdfunding campaigns will do an automatic thank you, not just to them directly through email when they donate, but they'll also, this is Fundly, post it automatically for us. They put it right on our Facebook page, and it tells you who it was, and the person even wrote a note. So this got right on our Facebook page. So there's the automated response, but it's also try to make it personal. Even a photo with, like this one, we just put the woman's name on there. They do get their automated one, but we also send them a postcard. You try to say thank you, especially social media. Do more thanking than asking. In fact, personally, I don't like to ask on social media. Donate, donate, donate. There's a kind of a rule of thumb, 10 to 1. 10 pieces of content, 10 pieces of storytelling, 10 pieces of thank you to every one. Hey, don't forget to donate to our campaign. Try to make things as personal as possible. You can have contests on there. Just keep people interested. And announce the winners by name. The other thing you're going to be doing is throughout the maintenance of maintaining this campaign, you're just updating. Again, at one of the stats, I forget which one it was, it's something about 42% increase in donors if you update regularly. I think it was that. Anyway, you have all this stuff already made, a lot of it. You got your milestones, you've got your new rewards that you're going to be giving out. You can update those stuff on a regular basis. You can use social media to do your updating. And again, there it is, about once every 10 posts, ask for your donations.
So if you're donating this way, plus, or if you're fundraising this, plus you're doing raffles, plus you're doing parties, or whatever, do you include those funds that you've also raised on the side in your update, or
So the question is, if you have other fundraisers going on at the same time, maybe all for the same goal. So maybe you're trying to build a building and you have a raffle for it and you have this.
So as you can see, I obviously lost the audio at this point in the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a voiceover narration, what I'm doing now, for the rest of the slides. There's only a few more left. And so first thing, let's just get me off the screen there. Okay. And let me answer the question that was asked. They asked if it was okay to have multiple fundraisers at one time and to update all those fundraisers on your campaign page. Or to include them, I should say, on the campaign page. And I would suggest that if you have multiple fundraisers going on, say you're doing a very large capital project and you want to build a building and you need the land cleared and the foundation built and the materials bought and all that, and you break it down, which is usually a good idea, breaking a large capital. If you're hundreds of thousands of dollars you want to fundraise, I would break it down and then dedicate different types of fundraising towards certain goals. So your raffle that you're having may be for the foundation of the building, and your online campaign, your crowdfunding campaign, might be for the actual building of the building. And you can update people along the way, knowing you can inform them that, hey, we're getting the foundation built and that's being done this way, and we're getting this built and that's being done through this campaign. And you can update them on the progress of that because they can get the bigger picture. But I wouldn't include all of the different fundraisers on one page because it would be overwhelming for a potential donor to see just how large of a scope of a project was, and it may dissuade them from trying to donate to your campaign. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to a review of maintaining your campaign. Again, now one of the most important things while you're doing your campaign is to be everywhere. And that means having your posts go on social media, having them go on a blog post, having them go through email, sending out thank you cards, emailing thank yous, putting stuff out on Twitter. Just be everywhere you can think of, and that includes press releases also. Also, just do continued thanks. Just be as appreciative as possible. And again, do that in every way possible. That would be social media, it would be through emails, and again, through letters or postcards, even videos. A thank you video halfway through or a third of the way through your campaign will just really make a great impression on people and keep them motivated to continue to donate and support your campaign. And of course, have your scheduled updates and just keep updating people of your progress and how well you've done, on what your goals are, on how far you have left to go, on what your recent donation was, on if you got any special support from a specific person or a specific organization. Just update, update, update. That's what keeps your campaign alive. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the most important part. So you've done everything. You've picked your platform. You know how much you're going to raise. You've done that background. You've made your plan and created your content. You know what rewards you're going to give. You've have your milestones laid out. You've prepared your launch date and you've set that up. And now you launch to your inner circle first. You get your momentum going, and then you maintain your campaign as it goes on by being everywhere, by giving thanks. Just everything we've talked about. So here's the most important part. Work your plan. You have a plan. Well, you better have a plan. Make a plan and then work it. And really take seriously that schedule. On day 1, on day 2, on day 3, what are you going to post? Who are you going to thank? What are the milestones? When are you going to launch your new perk award? All of that really makes a difference, and just continue to just work that plan throughout the entirety of the campaign. And that work begins in the pre-planning stages, because even the pre-planning is part of your plan. So really, I can't stress enough, plan the work and then work that plan, because that's what's going to make your campaign successful. All right, well, that wraps up this presentation. thanks for watching, folks. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. My name is Steve Vick, and I am the founder of nonprofitally.com. So if you want to watch this video on the website or find out more information on crowdfunding, social media, grant writing, pretty much anything related to nonprofits, you can go to nonprofitally.com and give it a listen there, or give it a read if it's a blog post. Also, if you want to contact me, you can reach me at steve@nonprofitally.com. Again, that's steve@nonprofitally.com. And if you did like the video, that'd be great. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and just put a comment below and give us a thumbs up. That would really be wonderful. Or if you're listening to this through the podcast on iTunes, go ahead and give the podcast a rating. It's something that really helps out the podcast, as well as it helps people find our program. So, and that podcast, if you are watching this on YouTube, the podcast is the Nonprofit Ally Podcast. Pretty easy to find. Just go to iTunes or Stitcher or whatever podcast application you use. Type in Nonprofit Ally, and you should be able to find us right away. Alrighty, well, thanks again, folks. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope you got something out of it. And thanks again so much for watching. Bye.